What's going on? What message do I need to hear?
On the 31st of July 2021, the Queensland Government closed children's outdoor playgrounds. This destroyed many families with young children. My son was crying because he could not play in the park, and as a health coach, I know the importance of outdoor play. For those who don't know me, my name is Matt Fox. I'm a husband and, most importantly, I'm a father to a 4-year-old boy. On the 3rd of August this year, I documented on my Instagram stories the fact that children's outdoor playgrounds were being shut down. Children were not allowed to use them and that parents would be fined for doing so. This was on the playground just down the road from where I live, which is where children exercise outside. Playground closed. Don't think it's closed anymore. Playground open. My son was crying because he could not play in the park. Regrettably, I let my frustrations get the best of me and I filmed myself putting a playground closed sign in the bin and encouraging others to do the same, while advocating for the opening up of our playgrounds. In this video, I voiced my frustrations at the fact that my 4-year-old son and millions of others around Australia could not use an outdoor playground to get the physical, mental and social stimulation they desperately need in these troubled times, especially when they are not allowed to attend school, kindergarten, daycare, friends' homes, family members' homes, and now the playgrounds. Due to the actions on the video of throwing away the sign, I had Noosa Police turn up at my house at 6 a.m. the following day. I'm now facing criminal charges, a criminal conviction, and expensive court appearances. My integrity has been questioned. I was DNA swabbed, fingerprinted, and had a mugshot taken. The treatment is what you would expect in communist China. While I regret and am remorseful of how I handled myself in that moment of throwing away the sign, I had no intention of keeping it. It's worthless to me. I was protesting the injustice, protesting because of the pain of watching my own son and his friends cry because they're not allowed to play at the park. For so many people, my friends, family members, clients, taking their kids to play in the park is the only respite they have. I was protesting this injustice, but now I'm facing very serious criminal charges of stealing. It carries a maximum 5-year jail term. I do not regret standing up for the country's most vulnerable, for the children that have no voice, the children that can't comprehend why they aren't allowed to go to school or go to a playground. I felt compelled to take action. In my son's case, he hasn't seen his grandparents for over 2 years. Many other Australian children are in similar situations. As I talk about this, evidence has been presented that in the last week alone, just one single week, Kids Helpline counsellors received over 10,000 calls for help. The helpline has had to double the number of counsellors they have on board. These innocent Australian children need a sense of normality in this very strange world. I didn't realise how much of an effect it has on children and me until I saw my son run into the playground so excited about one of his favourite times of the day, only to be faced with a sign stating, "Playground closed." I didn't realise the effect it had until I had hundreds of messages from fellow parents telling me heartbreaking stories of children talking about hurting themselves because there's no end in sight. I broke down reading these messages. I'm very grateful to have the support and the help of my fantastic lawyer and friend, who is also a father to a young boy and a huge advocate for the health and welfare of our children, Mr. Reece Roberts at Robert Gray Lawyers. I'm very grateful to Reece Roberts at Robert Gray Lawyers. Stories of never-ending tragedy is what pushed me over the edge and made me react in the way I did, irrationally filming it and sharing these frustrations on social media. Whatever your stand is surrounding the current pandemic, I'm sure we can all agree on the fact that these children need to be children. This is the future generation. We should be protecting them and sparing them from the daily realities of what is happening in this country and around the world. The police come to my house the next morning at 6 a.m. who went through my bin. I went down to the station, they DNA swabbed me, fingerprinted me, mugshot, and have charged me with stealing a sign that they value at $0 that was returned undamaged and in usable condition.
What was this for? You took a sign off the ground or something?
A small plastic sign valued at $0 that was closing down playgrounds and not allowing children to play.
Oh, and you took it off.
Well, I didn't take it off. It had already been taken off. I just put it in the bin.
Oh, and you got a fine for that.
No, I'm charged. I have to go to court for this. No, it's not just a fine yet.
So they're closing down playgrounds like psychopaths. Somebody took it off and you just threw it in the garbage can, and now they're bringing it to court, correct?
Oh, correct. I was talking about how outdoor playgrounds are essential to children's physical and mental well-being. And, you know, it's part of their health when they can't travel more than 10 kilometres around their home. So like 5 miles, they have a radius. They can't see the family. They can't see their friends. They can't go to school. And now they can't go to playgrounds. So that sign got placed into the bin. And from there, it warrants a charge, a court appearance, DNA collection. Yeah, that's Australia Police.
Are they pretending to like open? Because I know they're doing like 3-day lockdowns, 6-day lockdowns. They keep extending it. Like it's been at least a month since I've talked to the last people, or at least a couple weeks. Like how? Like do they have no soul? Do they think that kids don't need to play or something? Like how long are they thinking they're going to do this for?
It's come out today that or yesterday that 340 teenagers in a week are getting admitted for mental health emergencies to the hospital, and they're suppressing that information. You know, I've got a 4-year-old son who can't comprehend why he can't see family or can't play at a playground. So you've got this effect of young kids that don't understand this and what it does to them later on in life, and they don't seem to care.
I want to say real quick, it's getting crazy in America too. There was this story this week where a mother lost custody of her child because the child the mother wasn't vaccinated. So Judge Shapiro, according to the news, said that she's not allowed to see her kid anymore because she's not vaccinated until she gets vaccinated. So that was the first court case that I've seen saying that a mother can't even see her child anymore. So like we're not as bad as you as far as lockdowns and restrictions, because just I'll have you repeat it, but like you can only go a certain amount of kilometers away from your house. There's all these crazy rules in Australia. We're not that bad, but with the forced jabbing, it's starting to get pretty bad here, and it's like slowly, quietly seeping in, and not that many people are paying attention because everybody's pretty much free for the most part here. So you know, we're hoping to stay this way.
Yeah, I mean Melbourne in Victoria has a curfew on, so no one's allowed out of their house. I mean, they're not allowed out of their house regardless. But if you do have a permit, which you need a permit, so keep this in mind. I've got family down there. They must carry papers if they're approved by the government to go to work. So first you have to ask the government if you can go and run your own business to support your family. Then if they deem it to be okay, you have to get papers. You have to travel with these papers wherever you go outside, because you're only allowed to go outside for work or your 1 hour of exercise within 5-mile radius of your house. And then on top of that, they've got a curfew from 9 p.m. till 5 a.m., I believe it is, where no one is meant to be outside.
Yeah, I showed the clip of they had, I can't remember if it was a rugby or cricket player, but, professional sports player, how he was traveling around the country without their permission, going the wrong way, as if like his life is their business.
31-year-old stopped at 11:30 last night in Lithgow, where he allegedly told officers he was moving to the area and feeding animals before admitting to visiting a friend. He and a passenger turned back to Sydney, only to be pulled over a second time, travelling in the wrong direction. The NRL is investigating and criminal charges could be laid.
And then they showed like this nice like Asian or Filipino construction worker where they're like, we're sending him home because he didn't have his papers and QR code scanned, and he's got a mask on. He looks sad and stuff. And I'm like,
Inspectors have asked these tradesmen to show proof of their QR check-in as well as identification and vaccination records. One of the men here is from Campsie and he doesn't have his documentation. so he's being sent home. He may lose a chunk of his pay too if officers follow through with a fine.
It's literally getting that crazy there. Any other stories that you think people haven't heard yet, or like that'll hit home?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just what's happening to the kids, I think, in this country. I mean, people as a whole, but the mental health is far more damaging than what's going on.
And they're almost not letting you report on it, where there's a real conversation to be had. I have my stance on it, but like, let's weigh out the pros and the cons. What are the pros and what are the cons? They're trying to act like the cons don't exist. They're trying to act like it's not mentally abusive. They're trying to act like it's not psychologically abusive. They're trying to act like when kids play, a lot of them, by the time they're done at school, it's black and filled with spit and stuff because they're kids and it comes on and off. Like, I mean, most kids are not keeping this thing clean for a whole day. So it's like, the scientific argument of, well, if it's a clean thing for 10 minutes versus for 7 hours and this thing's disgusting, is it bringing more germs and stuff in front of their face? That's a real scientific conversation to have that they're not allowing anybody to have. Bloomberg posted an article where they had said that Israeli data is starting to suggest that possibly, maybe, the first wave of infection will protect you better than the Pfizer. That's not me saying that. That's Bloomberg. That's Israeli data. And people are getting banned off social media just for posting that article and expressing that. So it's like they're trying to act like your immune system doesn't exist. They're trying to act like kids are just great and learn better with the masks on. It's just so much. It's like, can we not have a real discussion about the pros and the cons? Or are you guys just going to be psychopaths that say, this is good for you, smacking people in the head, this is good for you. And you're like, no, like maybe it's okay for kids to play on a playground. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I just, I just said a speech violation by suggesting kids should play on a playground. Like it's
and then you get them at your house at 6 a.m. like taking you to the station and charging you and getting your DNA for that real criminal act.
Yeah, no, I think the real crime should be anybody who tries to close down a public playground and stop kids from exercising. What do they want? Everybody to be fat and addicted to opioid pills or something, drinking high fructose corn syrup, eating Taco Bell? Is that what they want? So when did the least healthy people in society get to be tyrants and be like, no playtime for you boys, no more basketball, no more cricket, you need to sit inside? It's like, I can't believe people are letting this happen, and like, it's normal.
That's crazy. All right, mate. Well, I'll let you get someone else on because there's so many people I can see. Thanks for having me on, mate. Cheers.
Of course. God bless you, brother.
You too. Bye, mate.
Unbelievable. We're going to air that clip on Facebook and YouTube. Definitely. That was great, Maddie. Thank you so much. We're going to air that.